let's talk about that medical training. I've been in rooms where it's not been seen as positive when physicians go over to the administrative side, and I've been in rooms where I've seen the fact that CIOs don't really understand the medical side of it has been a hindrance as well. So talk a little bit about the benefits and maybe even the challenges of being a doctor as on the administrative side.
So when I came to Monument Health as the CMIO, I was new to the organization and new to the administrative team. And I was more nervous about that than, for example, the previous organization where I grew up both clinically and administratively. There was total acceptance of that because I was known first as a clinical colleague and had built that trust. And then the administrative part came secondary to that. And so people were like, oh, well, that'll be great because she's doing all the stuff we don't really want to do anyway. And lets us sort of keep our clinical stuff going on. When I came to Monument, again, I came in, I have not practiced medicine since I got here almost 5 years ago. It's weird for me to say that. It was not the intention. It's just sort of how things evolved, especially as I initially came into an epic migration, which was super intense, and then took on the secondary role of both CIO and CMIO. Something sort of had to give. And I would say actually the clinicians that were maybe surprisingly accepting of that process. I use my clinical knowledge all the time in conversations, in going to bat over different situations, even in addressing things like when we have an unexpected outage or downtime, there is always a clinical thread going on as to what are the impacts, what do we need to do, and how are we going to make it better. And I think I've demonstrated that enough times that I don't get a lot of the, well, you don't practice anymore, and so you're not credible, because I think that they realize that the clinical experience that I've had and that I continue to thread into what we're doing brings value. And so, and I think in general, many physicians have no desire whatsoever to move into an administrative role, and that's great. Because if all of our physicians move into administrative roles, there's going to be nobody left to take care of patients, and we already have a physician shortage crisis. So we need lots of physicians to stay physicians in clinical practice. However, if we don't have physicians moving into these administrative roles, I think what we were starting to see was a real chasm between the clinical side and the administrative side, and that they were almost like against each other. And if you can do integrations and bring clinicians, whether it's physicians or other kinds of clinicians, into the administrative side, I think we rebuild those bridges and the understanding. And so I think within my own organization, we have several physician administrators, and I think that has been very positive and well accepted and actually really unifying.